fine. Hi everyone, Helena here, Kelly here.
Hello.
We are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors and coaches to build a business on your terms. And so whether you are watching us live and kind of joining us right now, or whether you're doing hashtag replay, please put hashtag replay. We love to see that, you know, whichever one you're watching at whatever time.
80% of our viewers actually watch on the replay. We
It's
know
true.
We've got your regular cups and coffee Tuesday afternoon people that watch us with us, so think about this when you're doing your own Facebook Lives.
Yes.
Do it at a time that's convenient to you. Tuesdays
Amanda.
are when we're always together.
Yep.
But know that probably the majority of people are going to watch your lives on the replay.
Exactly, and you can make space and time for that. But anyway, that's for a whole other Facebook Live, which I think we'll probably plan another one for. Today, we are actually much more focused on something very dear to everybody's heart. So before we get there, we always start with the buzz in our business. So Amanda, I know that you are currently on. Somebody else has joined as well. I don't know who that is yet. So what is the buzz in your business? I.e., what's going on that's exciting and interesting for people who might not like to know. So certainly in the Connection Hub for us, in the Connection Hub, we now have 2,500 members. Now the Connection
more,
Hub,
right?
well, I was going to say 2,520.
It goes up about £50 a day or so, £50.
It goes up by lots every day. Now, the Connection Hub is, so Speaker Insight, this page is where we always do our trainings from at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday. But the Connection Hub is where the real action happens. We say, you know, your page is your stage and your group is your after party. And there is a lot of conversation in the after party. So if you haven't joined, I'm sure Kelly's already put the link in, or she's doing it right now, which is a really good thing. So the buzz in our business, as well as having hit over 2,500 people, which is an amazing amount of knowledge and passion and energy for really people who are looking to change the world through being a speaker, author or a coach. As well as this, one of the new features, because we promised ourselves we would when we got to...
every time we hit a milestone, we attempt to listen to our members and say, you know, what's the things that you want us to improve on and develop? And so we normally
What do you want that's new?
Yeah, we normally release a new feature when we've hit a milestone of ours. So we released the Share Sunday post on Sundays.
Which is really good because there's such a wealth of knowledge and information. Share Sunday is all about, on a Sunday, in that post, you can share your latest blog, your latest kind of little venture. It isn't necessarily about offers. It's more about how can you help educate the community.
Yeah. If your blog is relevant to speakers, authors and coaches.
Exactly.
So not just share your blog. If you've got some resource that you've been reading, a book or something of your own that can be of benefit to other speakers, authors or coaches, this is the place to share it. Yeah,
which is really good. So we're looking forward to actually seeing just what education we end up with as a result of that. So get yourself ready for next Sunday. Now, the one other thing I will say, because it was just so awesome, was the Connect and Create Day right at the beginning of the year, last Wednesday, was phenomenal. 16 people just cracking on with work, making some incredible connections in the room. And there is nothing quite like getting together with like-minded people to see what else is possible. And lots of new things happened in that room for many, many people.
Yeah.
Around just building their business in ways that they hadn't thought of. So there is something about being connected that allows your business to grow in ways you didn't know about.
And so we'll be releasing the next Connect and Create days in 2 weeks in the Connection Hub. So you'll be able to book up for the next ones. They go very quickly.
And for the change makers, you'll get first dibs on Friday. So for those of you in the membership, you always get first dibs on actually coming.
So here's some buzz from Carol.
Go on.
I'm in the process of creating a membership site for my business. I work as a healer facilitator and a spiritual guide. I've also just increased my prices for in-person sessions, so I feel really pumped up about that. Awesome, well done, Carol.
Ooh, we are most impressed. Good for you. And it's exactly that kind of thing that really does help. So on to today's live, because this is something that we get asked about a lot. And so there's one particular question I ask within all of the coaching that, you know, we just thought we would share that with you because it really will help you tremendously. So today's live is all about where can you find your ideal customer? Where can you find that avatar? We talk about the avatar all of the time.
Every single Facebook Live that we've ever done, we mention avatar.
I'm pretty certain that if we listened back through each one, we would hear the word and probably kind of be able to do bingo on it. But anyway, so here are the things that we get asked all the time. Like, where can I find my customers? That's kind of one of those easy ones. Another subtle way of doing it is well, what what groups should I be in order to find them? Or where can I find the connections that connect me through to those people? So, the people who have my people, because all of us know on average, and the stats have probably changed a little bit, but, on average, we know 250 people, but each of those people knows 250 people. So who has the connections in that way? So that's also an interesting one. And the other thing that we actually did was in the spring of last year, because we talked about avatar so much, we thought we'd kind of get you to know your avatar really well. We did an avatar challenge that was a 5-day challenge inside the Connection Hub. And one of the things that we talked about was really, where do they hang out? Where do these people that we want to serve hang out? And so today we thought we'd do a slightly deeper dive in this training for you on exactly that.
Yeah.
So
I've just put the link in the comments to a Facebook Live that we did, which was really deep dive into how to identify your avatar, understand more about them. We're not going to do that on today's Facebook Live.
That's not what today's about.
But if you haven't done that, then I would do that first and then come back to this one. So I've
Stop
just put the
listening
link.
now if you haven't done that, or listen to this, then go back, do that, and then do this properly in the way that you do. Because we expect you to work at being the beautiful successes that you are.
Yeah.
So, any more?
No,
am I good to go?
Bethan's joined us.
So here's the thing. The reason why we say you should know your avatar really well is because actually, in order to do the question, I'm going to let Kelly ask the question. So, in order to actually really explore this fully, you want to be able to identify who has the people that you actually want to serve. What services do they use? And by knowing your avatar, you understand what services they're using, who provides those services, where they shop, where they buy their things from, what their hobbies are, where do they learn more about their craft, all of the things that make them great at what they do or that provides what they actually need. All of those, they get them from somewhere. So who are they getting them from? It might even be what kinds of holidays do they go on? And, how do they spend their time in terms of, do they have personal trainers? And if so, where do they find them? And the key to this is when you know those things, you have an opportunity. And that's what we're all about. We're all about how do you create the opportunity by identifying your avatar in that way. So, when you start to hang out where your avatar actually is, whether it's through networking or in the groups that you're in the LinkedIn groups that you're in, or, even reading the magazines, the adverts and what publications they actually read, these are the easy ways to begin to actually,
connect,
be on their radar and connect in that way. And here's the thing. Most of you are probably thinking about the avatar directly, but you're not necessarily thinking about the people who serve them. So, what's the question, Kelly?
So the big question we want to focus on, because as Helena said, we've taught you in previous lives about what to do marketing-wise to connect with your avatar. Yeah. All the things that Helena said, online and offline networking, publications to advertise in, looking at their hobbies and interests and seeing if you can indirectly connect with them, looking at their pain points and all those types of things. We've done lots of lives and training on that. Yeah. The step change we want you to think about in this live...
It's so juicy. Are you ready? It's a pens out job. If you haven't got your pen out, do it now.
Is who has your customers before and after you, right? So it's a really great concept to think about. And when you understand this, the purpose of this live is actually to think, well, who can you join partnership relations with, referral relationships with, who have got your avatar, and the work that you do is complementary, but you're not in competition with this person. So you might have similar services, but you don't actually offer the same service. It's more of a continuation. So,
pure gold.
Of course it's pure gold.
Pure gold.
So in this respect, there's a few things you need to have in place in order to start this process going. The 3 things. Yeah. Clear and thorough description of your avatar. So as I know Michelle's just said, she's going to watch the link to the previous one before. Go and do that, because that will help you get that real juicy clarity picture of who this person is. And the journey that you want to take them on, from their pains to their aspirations.
Agreed.
Okay, so we really have to know that before you start thinking about who's got them.
Yeah.
The second thing, which again we've done training on, is actually having your products in a product funnel.
Yeah.
So actually from, I always say each product you create should solve a different problem along the way.
Yeah.
Right? So it makes a logical progress for somebody to go through a user journey.
Yeah.
And normally the early stage products
Keep
are
going.
cheaper, free, low end, sub £100 type of thing, all the way when they get to the right end of stuff where you're working one-to-one with you is your top dollar. That whole process there takes somebody on a journey from this pain to this aspiration, breaking it down into benchmarks along the way using different products.
So I'm smiling because I have recently been admiring and absolutely devouring the lovely Marie Kondo.
She's gone crazy. She's gone on Netflix,
Well,
right?
so Netflix have actually, and I love the business acumen of this. So she does something that she loves. She helps people declutter. She has a system for it. She puts the system into a book.
She has a best-selling book.
She has a best-selling book. She starts to put things on YouTube. She starts to kind of explode her presence in some way. Netflix offers her a series. So that is a beautiful example, completely outside of this. But the reason that I'm saying this is because in terms of the product range that we always talk about, it is a little bit like decluttering. It's like you go, I'm just going to clear out the kitchen drawer. But before you know it, unearthing that problem and solving that problem has now created the problem of actually we don't have enough space, or I don't have it how we want to. So actually now we need to remodel the kitchen, and then we're kind of doing
rebuilding
all sorts of things in that way. But the point is, you didn't know that you were going to end up doing that by solving the one problem. And so I'm just in that kind of space that's what it actually does. And the great thing about that for this question, who has my customers before me or after me, is that actually there's a whole range of opportunities around each of those kind of centrifugal problems along your product range.
So when you do this, the avatar discovery, break the main points down. Where are they when you find them? What's the pain? What are they Googling? What are they aware of that they need a problem with?
Yeah.
And what's their aspiration? What does it look like to them at the ultimate end when they have everything that they want solved and they're living that perfect dream?
Yeah.
Then most people, it's really hard to jump from here to here.
Yeah.
And you're actually going to have to break them down into 3 or 4 different steps. Be completely transparent with what that journey looks like, and only really sell the next step when they're ready to hear the next step.
Exactly.
So you've got to know, and this is really important because I think a lot of speakers, authors and coaches, because you guys are in service, you want to help people. And sometimes you actually go outside of your limits and you take on things that you think, oh, I could learn to do that and I could help you, when actually it would be much more beneficial for you to have somebody who then takes that client off your hand when they're outside of your limits.
Yeah.
You stay doing, what did Keely say? You slay in your lane.
You slay in your lane. There it is, skills.
So you stay in what you're good at and what you know. And the other person then contributes, and you work with them, and you have a great relationship because they then are in their expertise too.
Yeah.
So the 3 key things I want you to do: define your avatar.
Yes.
Really understand what your product funnel is, what your main outcome is, and what are the stages of the problems that you solve along the way, and know what those problems are so that you can associate a product with them. Then you're ready, right? You're ready to actually think about this big question, which is the juicy question: is who has your clients before and after you?
Yeah.
So your clients will then, or the prospects that you attract, will fall into one of 3 categories. One, they might be too early for you, right? So they're not in the right place that you want to work with them. If I use my speaker agency as an example for this, so when I manage professional speakers, I get people asking me all the time, can you manage me as a speaker? And we have real protocol that we don't take on speakers that have never had any professional speaker training, that have never spoken on stage before, got professional feedback, got testimonials in a larger organisation. And ideally, we want to have video footage of you doing that, right? So they're our lowest criteria for us to consider you. So if somebody comes to me and they want to be a professional speaker, they're way too early for my journey. So I don't want to go, oh no, I don't take you on. That's when I would redirect them into the Connection Hub.
That's right.
And say, this is how you can build your profile. This is all the people in there, speaker trainers and stuff we can connect with you with. So my own companies are
Yeah.
integrated with each other, right?
Completely, and that kind of makes a lot of sense, that actually, because we know and understand what our people need. Now, if you don't have several companies, as each of us does, you might actually go, okay, well, who can provide them with what they need so that they get ready for me?
Yeah.
Because by that time, you will have built such a delicious relationship with them, because they go, oh, thank you so much for pointing me in the direction of a really good quality person who has now brought me up to this level. Can I come back to you in 6 months' time?
Definitely. So it would be, for me, it would be like, teaming up with organisations like the Professional Speaking Association, where people train how to become speakers and then they can develop.
Yeah.
Or it might be like we have a partnership with AuthorCraft, which is where authors want to become speakers. So that's thinking about who has your clients before you.
Yeah.
Because then you can not only refer people to them, but they can refer people to you. And we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So the second stage are actually the prospects that you want to jump on, right? The second stage are people that are wanting to solve the problem that you solve, right? So they're completely aware of what they need. They're looking for it, and you offer a service or a product that completely...
it's a match.
Yeah, it's a perfect match for you. So that's really where you're dealing your ideal client when you do the Facebook Live beforehand. This is what you're describing here, the situation they're at, that they've got the money to pay for your services, that they've got the time, they have got a values match. All these types of things are really important for you. So the number 2 stages are the ones that are your audience.
They really are the ideal client.
Yeah. So the third stage are actually people that you might come across that are actually where your avatar will be once they've worked with you. So the end stage, the outcome. So they actually don't need your services because they've already got to the level that you bring them to.
They're there.
So you're not going to work with them in that respect. Or it could be that they're right at the end of your avatar and you think, okay, I'm in my lane, I'm in my limits, but there is something else that they now need that I don't offer.
Exactly.
So for example, it would be, who could I pass my clients on to?
Yeah.
And again, this organisation who you pass them on to will have people that come too early for them.
Yeah.
So they need to pass them back to you in that respect.
Yeah.
So this is where you need to really understand what your specialism is, really understand the problems you solve, the limits that you go to, and then think, who is either end of the spectrum for me that I can actually say, let me give you an introductory fee. Here's a commission structure that I can actually say, if I introduce this person to you, I'll get a 10-20% commission on the first coaching session that they do.
Yeah.
And similarly, you need to think, how can they refer into you?
Yeah. What else is possible around how what you do and what we do actually works? So I've just seen that Helen Bullen, for example, has just jumped on. Hi, hun. Nice to see you. And it might actually be that in the course of traveling, a lot of the speakers, lugging luggage around and everything else, need a good ortho. Well, guess what? I'm saying that.
Ortho, you have to expand. What does that?
Okay. Well, sort of people who deal with people's alignment and everything else. Like Feinfettel is a beautiful clinic that deals with all of people's kind of issues around the body, and they just straighten you up and send you back out into the world. So for example, that's a really good example of who might have my customers before me or after me. So who could I recommend that this person who has been doing a lot of traveling and is just kind of achy and painy in the Leatherhead area might actually want to go to? There you go, hun. That's a good one for you.
Helen want, right?
I know, right? That's all good. But you get the idea.
And so we can talk about that now. We were going to do it a little bit later, but we can talk. It doesn't have to be the people that are in that user journey. So Helena just said then, people that are actually, in the alternative space where you wouldn't think about, how does that person help my back when they're carrying lots of suitcases? That's not a direct thing that you think about.
No.
But initially what you think about is who is offering services that are completely aligned.
Yes.
Then you've got to think, well, how do I set these systems up? Because that's when things go to pot, when it's all on word of mouth and there's no code and you've got to track how this person came. So there's lots of, I'm going to put a link in a minute of a Facebook Live that we did with Phil Gibbs.
Really good one.
It's all about how to work with affiliates and joint ventures, how to set up promo links, what software to use in order to track referrals. Yeah. So I'll put that linking in a minute. So that's one thing that I think is really key. Once you understand who those people are you want to work with, Then you've got to think always the business systems, the business structure.
That's right.
How do I track those referrals? How often do I pay commission? Is it on a monthly basis? Is it on a quarterly basis?
Yeah.
Is when they've earned over £1,000 commission? T's and C's, all this stuff. I know it's boring, guys.
Yeah.
But
for those of you who are freaking out, breathe.
just watch the Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Phil and I have a lot of fun on that Facebook Live, so it's not a boring Facebook Live.
It really isn't.
And he gives away some great resources for you to actually look and help identify who those people are.
Yeah.
But secondly, what Helena was saying, once you've got those people that are aligned to your services,
like the direct ones.
the direct ones, then start thinking outside the box, right? Start thinking about, you've got the things down here about accountants and, the personal referrals.
Exactly. So go.
No, it's good.
So I like to think of it in kind of three core areas. So if you think about, it's valuable to ask yourself, well, who can sell on my behalf? So that's a really good kind of marker question as well. So who has my clients before me or after me is question number one. Question number two that I would always kind of play with is who can sell on my behalf. So who might like and see the association that I actually have in here. So three core kind of criteria or area context that I would actually kind of go with. One, professional. So do your people need or have accountants, lawyers, services of some kind, memberships to, international marketing things, groups that they're actually part of? So what are the professional associations or people that serve those people? Because that's one set that you can start to kind of think about. And those ones tend to be the direct ones. So, it might actually be that the accountants in the area, because, hey, if you're working with small businesses, they kind of need an accountant. So what could you do to find someone that actually is aligned, then that you can do some stuff with? I absolutely know that Keely, who we spoke about earlier, has some really great, now she's a psychotherapist, but she has some really great relationships with the accountants in the area. Go figure, right? Why? Because I've been making her ask this question quite a bit, right? And actually those are really fruitful relationships. So you get the idea. The second layer is on a practical level. So what are the services that they use to help them run their businesses? So I'm talking about the cleaners, the valets, the car, the MOT, the nannies, the concierges. Yeah. So who serves those people so they can have the lifestyle that they're actually working with? And that really, kind of sits around what are the services and service organizations that I could look at in my local, global, national kind of area that allow me to do that. So the professionals, the practicals, and then the personals. So, most of us as speakers, authors and coaches particularly, we want to show up in a particular way. So where do they shop? Do they use personal shoppers? Do they use, and we've got several of those in here. So it might actually be that you can team up with some stylists in some way. Hairdressers, so Charlotte springs to mind.
Charlotte, Amanda for the photography, loads of people.
Exactly.
Like that.
And so, even the personal trainers.
Even Amy Kramer takes us to her hairdressers on a Tuesday, right? So
that was really cool. So her hairdressers last week actually got a real bout of us teaching all sorts of things last week, which was really good. But the point here is that if you start thinking about, okay, well, where do these people hang out? Where are they? How are they building their lifestyle? And then, so what are the professionals, the practical, and the personal people that actually support these people in having their lifestyle? And who could I, so then it becomes, what else is possible for me building a relationship with these people that they might want to sell on my behalf, or that I could actually kind of do a contra deal with, or however you want to set that up, back to what Kelly was saying about systems in that way. Once you've identified who those partners are that have them before or after, it's really important that, and I cannot stress this enough, and a lot of people ask us, how did you two find each other? Well, I kissed a lot of frogs, to be honest.
Why? Oh.
Honey, you're not a frog.
Wide mouth frog. I like wide mouth.
Well, there is that, but you are a princess in this metaphor. That's what's going on here. She's never going to live this one down for a while. I'm going to keep milking this one. So the point about this is that actually don't jump in quickly. Like, test it out, right? So you want to start small, you want to have some conversations. This is like dating, because actually these are the people that you are asking to either represent you or you're actually passing on your beautiful special clients to somebody. So you want to know that you can
They're
trust.
going to be looked after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trust the people that you're actually kind of sending them through to. So how do you do that? Definitely, you ensure that they align with the values, the brand, the ethics that you have. So you want to check them out, right? This isn't just oh, sure, we can just do that. Don't do that.
No. Ask for people's opinions of them. I know that I've managed people before and then they've gone and done a big joint venture event with tens of thousands of people, and actually just aligning them with that one person, literally hundreds of thousands of people unsubscribed from their mailing list, took themselves out because they're like, if you're dealing with that person, I don't want to know.
Forget it. Yeah. Forget it. And so you want to know. So now we're back to a different one of the other trainings that we actually kind of did, because they all circle around each other, of course. But around how you know what your green flag in the sand is. What do you stand for? What do you absolutely say no? Where are your boundaries in that way? So that's the one you will want to look for if that's the training that you'd love to see, the boundaries one. So we'll pop the link in there afterwards. I've only just thought of that one. But the point here is that you want to find people that align with you, your message, your brand, and you want to be aware of the kind of offers and the commission that you sell, the profit margins. So we are about putting the basics underneath the business so that you can actually go out and change the world. That's really what we're all about. So we're always going to go, okay, well, which of your products might you actually choose to have them promote on your behalf? And how do they do their promotions? What do they need from you in order to promote? What do you need from them in order to actually refer them in some way? Yeah. And you want to be in a position where you can have an open and honest conversation and say, well, what are the targets? Are we actually going to, is this a casual thing that we do? Or are we actually going to do it as a really kind of formal handshake agreement, targeted, contracted thing?
And it's really, the contracts bit is so important, guys. I know you don't have to spend hundreds of pounds with lawyers to set things up, but you have to have that, okay, when things are in, there's so many things can go wrong with JVs, and watch the thing with Philip Gibbs, because that will go through a lot of this. Yeah. But it's setting that protected parameters. There's things that we offer as products and services, and we don't offer commission on it because it's too cheap, right? There's no point in getting people involved for a £49 product. So the only thing that we actually offer commissions on at the moment is our retreats, because it's enough of a profit margin for us to do that. But in order to have those partners that do promote our retreats for us, there needs to be sales copy, there needs to be memes, there needs to be the contracts that we would review.
And timing.
And tracking where they came from, right? Which is why anyone that signs up fills in an application form, it says where you were referred from. And so we've got that system in place. Yeah. It's really hard for you to actually keep your company promises with people and say, yeah, I'm going to offer you this. Yeah. And then actually fall by the wayside when they go, well, how many people signed up? And you haven't got a system in place to track that. Maybe some people came through and you weren't aware. And then it's like, well, I know that person, she came from me. And then it becomes a bit of a mess.
And before you get kind of scared off and go, oh God, I'm never going to ask that question and identify people, because it sounds like there's a great big thing that goes on here. The point about this is you get to a certain stage in your business where you can still ask this question and do it at one level, and then kind of begin to increase it and go, actually, growth for me now looks like taking this more seriously and actually getting really kind of in touch with that.
And the simplest thing, most of you will be using some form of CRM system or some form of payment gateway like PayPal or Stripe.
Correct.
The first thing to do and the most easiest thing to do is set up an individual promo code for whoever you're working with, so that whenever they fill in an application form or pay for something, it can easily be automatically tracked to that promo code. And then you can have as many of them set up for as many partners as you want. And that's the most simplest, most basic way to track things. We can go into software like we do with the Facebook Live with Phil, but start simple, start testing it out and see what works, and with what partners.
Yeah, and so back to the original question, which is, where do I find them? Ask that question. Who has my clients before me or after me? Because that's what's going to start you thinking in this way. And our call to action, because there's always a call to action, so whether you've been doing #replay or whether you're here live, which we love, please, and Amy, I hope you caught that. So
that's my doorbell.
That's quite exciting, isn't it? That was like, it's time to go to sleep now.
It's time to finish the live.
Yeah, it is. So our kind of call to action, if you like, for this is simply for you to actually in this do a hashtag call out. You know, who is it that you're looking for that has the customers before you or after you?
So in the Connection Hub, that is one of our main hashtags. When you want to connect with someone in particular,
Hashtag
do a
call
post
out.
in the main feed, hashtag call out, say who you want to connect with. So describe who it is that's either end. And also I would encourage you to describe your avatar so they know that they've got your client, and then say, well, can we connect? And then you can have offline discussions to see if you can set up some sort of referral arrangement there. So the work is to do the original affiliate work, avatar that we said before, and you have to be doing the organic stuff, the social media, the hanging out, all those things we talked about before. But this is another layer on top to think, how do I work with partners that can refer in, and that's a great way, an organic way and a really natural way.
It really is.
Of supporting your client, supporting others, and supporting yourself.
And the chances are that even if they're a prospect, the number of times that, because I have a really big kind of network of people, the number of times where I've sent them off and gone, honey, you're not ready for me yet, like come back to me. Or, do you know what? I don't think I can help you. I think you want to go off to these people. Those people, 4, 5, 6 years later, come back and they go, do you know what? I'm now doing this new thing. I'd really love you.
And they really appreciate the fact that you didn't try and squeeze them into something that they weren't ready for.
That's it.
It's all about being authentic and serving, right?
That's it. So on that note, we are going to find out who was at the door and leave you to it until next week. It's a delicious thing. Amy, I look forward to seeing that you love the action, what this task is. Take care.
See you guys.
Bye.